won't go out in this year's renewal, or it might. It will not. Okay, that's all for me.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but if it's.
Is that something that you submitted to us formally?
Well, first, I've got no involvement in this. It's strictly Reverend Phillips. But two meetings ago, he posed the question of, and you were here. In fact, you volunteered that the vast majority of the composition of the licensee base is white female. You volunteered that, Dr. Ritchie. But he had asked 2 meetings ago, not.
The majority is female. I don't believe I said. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I may have that wrong. I have the video, but anyway, you volunteered at least at a minimum that it was vastly female, and I think you used the word Caucasian. In fact, I'm fairly certain that you did. So there was a discussion about getting with the AG's office to see if the Interior Design Board could place on its renewal application a question with regard to the ethnicity. It was stated that, obviously by Ms. Dow, and correctly, and by Ms. Edmonds, that you couldn't mandate that they have to disclose. But hence the question, was there anything done in terms of a voluntary disclosure?
Okay, yes, all right, I remember it that way, yes. And we followed up on that, but that is not complete.
Right.
So, I mean, Ms. Dow was correct a while ago when she said it will not be included on the 2014 renewal app, correct?
No, I don't think so.
We don't have the information yet.
That's fine. He asked me to pose the question, and I did, and I appreciate y'all answering it.
All right, so we don't have any other legal report. Okay, we can move on to new business, and Karen Hazel will give us the budget report.
The budget versus actual is in front of you. We're on target with this month. Nothing's changed, nothing's been added. It's all the same.
Now, we don't have to vote on it.
Yes, we vote to approve them,
Okay, could I have a motion to approve
or to accept, whatever you want to say.
to accept the budget report? Second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, this month we have the review of applications for registered interior designer status. We have one application, Lindsay Elway.
Yes, Lindsay is from LSU and everything is in order.
She's still at 2 Working. Yeah.
Not working, not teaching.
Oh, not
They
teaching.
haven't added anything.
She's in facilities, right?
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's great. It's good to see those recent grads, emerging professionals getting licenses. Why don't I announce the other ones so we can have the folders going around at the same time? So we are also going to review the application to return to active status for Mr. Dan Lee.
yes, and I should have put on here that he's requesting this for January 1st. But he has submitted an application, he was officially on inactive status, which you guys approved back in 2010. And so he lives in Texas, he works in Texas, and he's ready to start working in Louisiana again. And he has submitted his proof of continuing education over the past 4 years.
Wow.
Is
he an architect?
He is.
Did you check it?
I've looked through, yeah, I mean, it's just,
Is he licensed in Texas?
he is licensed in Texas, yes.
So,
And
did he keep that?
it's, well, he only needs 20 hours, and there's probably, about 100 sheets of paper here. So, yeah, I mean, he's been to all kind of healthcare symposiums and,
Do we know if he remained active in Texas?
yes, he did. He just was not having jobs in Louisiana. But, yeah, he's got, all of this is more than sufficient, and he just wrote on the receipt attached to documents.
Do you want to have a look at it, or? Yes, why don't we look at it, we'll go down through. The third item is the review of the application for intern interior designer by Katie Maneo.
I don't know, she's LSU student, I thought you were not.
What's her, is that her maiden name? Mineo?
Let me see.
What?
Garcia, Katie Garcia.
Oh, I knew I didn't know.
She was at the CEU on Friday.
Oh,
She works with Elizabeth Walter in Covington, who's on the CEU. And, yeah, she came in to check in and she was like, wait a minute, I know you, you've spoken at my interior design class at LSU. That's how I know she was at LSU. But,
wait,
she,
who runs the design studio?
Elizabeth Walter. And so she's applying, she marked on her application that she has not yet registered to be a test candidate with NCI.
Wait, she what?
She has not.
Oh,
registered.
Sandy,
Yeah.
how many have we had like this so far?
Well, since we revised the program, this is only our second.
That was this year we revised it.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
very
just-
long ago,
Yeah.
so that's
So
great.
that's good, we're starting to.
3 meetings ago now.
Very good.
Let me get it the next time. Tell me when you're ready.
Are we going to pass it back?
think I can't do it?
Not at all. That is a lot of paper.
One thing I can just, well, in terms of the NCIDQ report coming up next from Carolyn, I can say while we're looking at this, is one of the things that the NCIDQ is going to talk about at the Council of Delegates meetings is some of the new initiatives that they're doing to try to, the similar thing that we've been working on with the intern interior designer, ways to reach out to students, graduating students, and then also their program to reach out to emerging professionals, to get them in, get them licensed with programs like this. So, and there'll be more about that coming out. I know Drew asked about ways to get involved or ways we might, they're going to do a whole ambassador program with professionals that want to reach out to, and it could help perhaps with what Joanne is looking at, high school things
But
too.
you know what else I was going to say to the high school was? It might be nice for college students to come and speak.
Oh,
And talk about what they do and bring some boards and say this is what, you know, because there are kids with art backgrounds who don't know in what field to go into for art. And maybe when they do that, those days, if we get with the guidance council, maybe we can each go in our own area and then speak, maybe get kids, maybe go with a student, like from different schools, if they want to volunteer. Yeah.
And what they're, honestly, what they're doing in school now is quite a bit different than what you guys did when you went to school just because of the technology.
Even the job itself, though, has changed a lot.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to the interior design studio walk at LSU and your job will just drop. If you saw what they're doing.
Yeah, Karen was up there last year.
We have to have an ambulance in Hollywood.
I know, with my old draft board sitting there, it's like, where is it? Where is it?
It's untrue, I mean, like I looked at it and I'm like, there's no way I can do any of that. And then when you went to the landscape, that was really crazy work, all those big grading projects and trees.
Just how they, yeah, just the technology that they put in it.
Well, and the scope of what they cover has grown a lot too, just as a profession has.
They don't have the code, you see that stuff like that underwater.
On the landscape.
You saw that? Building homes underwater. Yeah, they have, I mean, they're like huge projects and it looks real futuristic and, you know, like big buildings up in the, out off the marsh, up hanging up 100 feet, you know, it's crazy.
It's the good thing about school. You don't have to be really
Yeah.
sick.
But I think, you know, when I looked at it.
You look at it, you're like, that's not buildable.
Yeah, when you look at what they were doing 20 years ago is probably what you're doing now. So realism is,
Exactly.
since I've been doing this, y'all have changed a lot.
But the computer generated
Okay.
World War II.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Even since I was in school, I think Ours was the first class to do 3D bids.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And even when we did the, Davies,
Your little moving
but
platforms.
little animation.
How long do your projects take? I mean, you could spend
Oh,
like
yeah, I guess.
hundreds, no, but I mean, one project, how many hours you work on a project if you have a computer to do most of the stuff on?
Well, it's probably the same.
Computer's not doing the work for you. It's just
Well, no, I mean, but it does, yeah, and aging, but I mean, it's the drawings, like all the, I mean, I can remember drawing perspectives and taking forever, and they have to be hand colored, and they have to, you know, and it's like,
But it still takes a long time, it's just in a different form.
okay.
There are some things certainly that go faster, but.
Is everyone looking at the band later?
Yes.
Yeah, if you wanna go ahead,
Make a
we could,
motion to, renew.
let's do, the application for Lindsay Howard. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay, let's, would someone like to make a motion to accept the application for return to active status by Dan Lee?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, and, oh, we don't get pictures. Okay, so, will someone make a motion to approve the application for intern interior designer for Katie Mineo? A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
That's exciting.
No, Mineos are married, I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Garcia's her maiden name, where she was
Yeah.
in school. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Okay.
Is she the first?
No, yeah, seconded since we changed. Okay, Carolyn, do you have an NCIC report?
Well, we did have a conference call, a council delegates meeting on September the 12th. And so several things were discussed. Of course, the annual meeting was a lot of what they discussed. That, which will be November 8th and 9th in Las Vegas. Also, they talked about the certification launch. So we are able to use NCIDQ as a application now. If you are current with NCIDQ as far as your fees before continuing as a member, you have to be registered with NCIDQ to do so. But that's $35 a year. And then 120 if you're at launch. Yeah, that's right. So you have,
So it used to be a fee plus you have to back pay every year.
Yeah,
They
so
couldn't
it's,
got rid of that because it would have been your ultimate.
then they discussed the name of NCIDQ versus CIDQ. So NCIDQ is the examination, and the person, CIDQ is just the corporation. They really don't talk about CIDQ. They identify themselves as the CIDQ examination. So really, in all of our discussions, what have you, we're talking about NCIDP, just talk about NCIDP, just like we always have. And then they talked about the strategic planning process, and Ken Baker is no longer with NCIDP. Moved on to another position.
Yeah.
But they have a great new, the executive director, right? The new lady that's in charge of things.
Carol Nichols.
She's a dynamo, so she's really doing a lot. So we can look forward to good things coming from this lady in the future. They're out together and they're doing a good job. Then we heard about the exam statistics. The graph they showed for us on the call shows that the examination numbers are going up. So that's a positive sign that more people are coming along to take the test. And there was a dip, and it's coming back.
With the recession, there was a,
Right. So they're doing the test a little bit different. I don't know if y'all want me to discuss all of that, but it's just all progressing for better and better, because they're still waiting to do all of the exam on the computer, but all the written part of the exam is going to be electrometrics.
right, so this spring, this test coming up, will be the last time applicants can take the section 1, section 2, that you did multiple choice. But the,
Scenario part will still be done.
right, the practicum, which was always done by hand, will remain that way for a while. But the new, which is not called section 1 and section 2 anymore, it's called the IDFX and the IDPX. It's the foundation part and the professional part. It's the same material. They're not covering different material. They just organized it in a different way. And I think Caroline told you before how the foundation part now can be taken once you get your bachelor's degree. Both those, and then the professional part is taken as section 1 and 2 were taken before, after you complete your professional internship. It's 2 years for people with a bachelor's degree and 4 years for those with a 2-year degree. There's a chart that gives that information. So after your experience, then you take the IDPX and the practicum.
Okay. Is there a place where you go look like a sample of the new version? I mean, if you wanted to see what's going on, is there any way to?
I don't know that they don't put sample questions out there. They've got things you can purchase, but what they do have is if you go to the NCIDP website and you click on exam content,
Right.
there is a write-up of exactly what material is covered in each of the sections.
And the
And that's in
percentages.
the new version too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yes,
so
that's
it's
what
the
it is.
same, it just shows you how they reorganized it. But there are things that you can purchase to see, and they're,
Like
and
study material.
study guides, they are re-looking at all that to bring that, kind of what you do every 5 years or so, re-looking at that with the new exam about what they should provide and the different things. Now it is under investigation. We're doing the studies to move to having the practicum computer-based. Landscape architecture just did that. Landscape and ID had held up, even though architecture had computer-based practicum for a long time. Landscape and interior design it was a numbers thing. We weren't large enough. It's very expensive to make that, and before it was even more expensive. Now the price has come down, and Landscape was able to develop a way to do it that was cost effective. So So we're, NCIDQ is looking at that now.
How do they jury the exams
Yeah.
now?
The same, well, the multiple choice was of course graded by a machine.
Right.
The computer exam is graded and,
That's pretty
by a
strict.
computer. Now the practicum is still hand graded by
Okay,
graders.
okay.
And you still have like 3 different graders. If there's there's all kinds of rules. If there's a big difference, I think they have another person look at it. So it's the same process as before.
But, I'm sorry, I just was saying, at some point, those dinosaurs of us out there who just hand drew, if there was some older person who wanted to go back for some reason and take that exam, then we're not gonna be able to do that.
It's,
Well,
right, that,
it's not necessarily, well, you'd have to be a little savvy, but they have to create, part of the reason why it costs so much money to make the program is that they have to make it so it's not similar or specific to any other program that somebody would have a benefit of knowing.
Oh, okay.
So the program that the architects use is really bizarre, and it takes them, that is months of learning just how to use that software, because it's not like AutoCAD, it's not like MicroStation,
so
it's not
people
like
don't have an
anything else.
advantage.
So nobody has an advantage, everyone's learning it from scratch. So
Okay.
it's part of the reason why it costs so much, because they really have to create something different. So you would still have the benefit of, nobody knows the program, you're starting from
So
scratch,
you
just
could
like
go-
everyone else.
okay.
But yeah, you would still have to be a little, at least computer savvy.
Yeah.
I've heard nightmares with that program. And I thought I heard rumors that AI was even thinking of getting rid of it, going back to hand drawing, but I can't imagine. Oh no, they're reformatting to get rid of vignettes. That's what I heard more recently. They may be reformatting and getting rid of vignettes altogether.
On their test. And the way landscape does it is very different. They took a whole different tact on how they approach the drawing part where there's less drawing. Now, I think people, have mixed feelings about it, but we are just in that time of change as technology changes. And now what this will allow is that the exam is given, it's still within a time period. There's about a 2-week time period in the fall and a 2-week time period in the spring, instead of just the 2 days you used to have to go. You can go into the test center, and of course, because it's offered by Prometrics, there are test centers all over. So it's more convenient for people. The time is more convenient. So there are advantages, of course, to that, but there are other, it's a change.
Well, what about the drawing part, if they have to do that on a specific date? Or
Yeah, the drawing part stays the
Okay.
same now, where it's on a day and it's at the test centers, like previously.
And the universities, are y'all contributing questions or new issues? Because what we're talking about is changes in the whole.
Well, one of the things that is involved in the time before they do the practicum is we're going to do another practice analysis.
Okay.
About every 5 to 8 years, they do a practice analysis, which is a huge study of what the practice is doing so that the test stays relevant.
Then they also did discuss that the corporation, CIDQ, is in good financial health. So they're strong financially, and it should be all good news going forward with CIDQ, so that's good for us. They just talked some about Las Vegas. Well, we'll have a report when we come back to the next board meeting, so that's in November. And we are supposed to come up with a golden nugget, and that is a 3-minute presentation of what we do well or differently, or something that we've been successful at in our jurisdiction. So, any ideas? anything you want to throw out there that we could incorporate in our golden nugget that we will present at the conference? I think, Deb,
How do you know when you do different?
Deb said something about the CEUs that we give, you know, that we sponsor, makes it very easy for our,
And that isn't
We
typical.
are,
interior
yeah, so I think
designers.
we're the only state that, but it's written into our law, but we're the only state that provides.
Yeah, we should do that.
That's a good, now, some state, I was surprised when I first became delegate how different other statutes are. I mean, it is just amazing, like, well, the other thing that everyone was so impressed with what we do is how we set up the Dan Boulany Scholarship to attract new graduates to stay in the state and to assist them. And most states cannot do that because of the way, just
They're funded.
the way the funding is set up, and they were just going, oh, that's such a fabulous program, but, and, you know, they were quite envious of.
Could that be a little bit of?
We're also different in that
Yeah,
that we actually require CEUs, right? Not just that we post them, but that we
No,
require.
I think most states require.
Do they-
That was part of the original program, to make sure there was some communication, so that designers can keep up to date with technology, et cetera.
or
They
are
have no
required to keep up?
excuse.
HSW?
All they have to do is show up on either the spring or the fall, and their hours are taken.
Now, that I would throw in, so,
And
is
that
that,
you've
is
supported.
that, yeah, the one thing that is different about our law than a lot of states is that our law specifically requires that the content be health, safety, and welfare, so it directly impacts the public, whereas, a lot of states just require that it be IDCEC approved, which IDCEC approval does not necessarily mean that you get the health, safety, welfare content. It could just be G for general knowledge, which in my opinion is just kind of the same as not being approved. Because in Louisiana, we don't accept those, but that's why I think that way. So not only do we provide them, but we provide the health, safety,
Yeah,
welfare.
I mean, a lot of people will have categories of, and maybe you have to have
Sustainability.
HSW and whatever, but, and they'll allow general ones, you know, oftentimes it might be about presentation techniques or business issues or things like that. But, you know, we encourage our membership to do that, but what you have to have for continuing education is the HSW.
So there's our nugget. You and I can work on that.
All right, any other questions, Madam Secretary?
No, but can I just pause this in there? Drew, at the last meeting, we were talking about how to help our licensees know how to use the appellation, but still meet Louisiana law by putting their licensing number on their business cards. So Drew has made, this is the new business card. This is how large they printed it.
Add that to your card, you know?
Cards are not usually that big.
It's ADA, it's large enough for you to see it.
This is the way that you fit in all of your appellations and your licensing number and all of your professional associations and your email and your cell
Yeah,
phone.
but it's bigger than your
You want me
iPad.
to add IIDA and ASID as well, so, I mean.
Right, so then it just
You know, I
runs
don't know
off
if
the
you get emails
card.
from some people that are
You
just
know,
like,
we might as-
NKPA.
You know, you say that, but we might as well so that people can see how to do that with them.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to me that Donna Vining uses her appellation with NCIDP first, then FASID, then IID.
That was gonna be my next question,
Yeah.
what do you want first? I would assume NCIDP.
I think NCIDQ should be first.
Well, I think the individual person can do it.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm
they
saying for
can,
example.
So I just wanted to show you guys, Drew made these two, and they're two different versions because this one is the full
Spelled out.
Louisiana registered interior designer with a number. And then this is the shortest format that's acceptable, which is the LA Reg ID with a number. So we'll do just a little more tweaking on these and then we can add these to the website so people can see how to make it all
I
work.
remember that some little practices or business professional with business cards, at one time somebody said, your business card, if you can't take a quarter and put it on your business card somewhere, and it doesn't cover up anything, you're okay.
Well, you can put a lot of numbers
You
on
can put a
here.
lot on that. You can put $1 on that. But if your quarter touches something, you've got too much on your business.
Boy, a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah, yeah, and really, it's true. I mean, if you look at it,
Oh, no, now you can do the two-sided cards, a lot of, that's what you do.
yeah.
Well, they come that way.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Karen. The CEU report?
Yeah, I'll just let you guys know, we just talked about Louisiana provides continuing education. And we just had an event, we had Donna Vining, who you guys voted on to bring in from Texas. And the feedback from people that were at the event was that Donna's always a great speaker. She comes with relevant material. It was very in-depth on how to help people, not only in their houses, but also when you're doing commercial work, people who are not necessarily in a wheelchair, because that's what we think about as ADA or people in wheelchairs, but there are lots of people that are, have some type of disability that need special accommodations, whether it be that they're blind or they can't hear or Parkinson's. I learned about the step. I mean, I'm not going to practice, but I still thought it was really obvious, really interesting that when you're designing a building, that a Parkinson's person who is not necessarily so advanced in their Parkinson's can still walk, but they tend to shuffle. And if they need to go up steps, the type of steps that you should do should not have the little, what do you call that?
Nose.
Little nose, but it should be a flat step, because when they shuffle and they need to pick up their foot, that way their foot can go up the flat front of the step onto the step, and they don't have to bring it around the nose of the step. And the whole event, in my opinion, was full of those types of little nuggets that just, when you personally aren't dealing with someone who has Parkinson's or someone who's blind or whatever, you don't think about those kind of things. So the feedback was really good, and I think that's about all for the CEU report.
Okay, thank you. The ASID report?
Marion.
Oh, well, I'm looking at the wrong. I just wanted to say that I did attend the ASID Shreveport meeting last week. And they got a good little core group there, some very young designers, and what they were talking about, one of the things was that the ASID chapter meeting is going to be in Shreveport next fall. So I think that meeting is a little earlier, September maybe or whatever. I don't know, they don't have dates. They don't have the annual conference. And they were talking about hot springs and how wonderful that was, and how in the world is Shreveport going to compete with that. Because what are we going to do in Shreveport? And we're like, well, we'll find something, whatever. And two really young girls, and a part of that aging process is that you forget names when people introduce them to you. So I'm not sure who they were, but two really young, very bright young girls are going to be the co-chairs of the meeting next fall. And what they were encouraging us as a board to do was to honor Bob King next fall in Shreveport, because that will be a larger turnout of ASIB members or anyone else who wants to attend that conference. And then there will be CEU also there, so that they would have that sort of thing. And so that they were saying that maybe we could come up and honor Bob, next fall, and I'll keep and let you know some dates or whatever.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't part of ASID, the ASID chapter is all of Louisiana, all of Arkansas, and all of Mississippi. So it does bring in a lot of interior designers to the conference, to the CEUs, to the awards banquet, to all the events that go on over, what is it, a 3-day period?
Your Friday,
of
Saturday,
events.
and kind of out early on Sunday.
So-
And of course, a lot of those people have worked with Bob all those years with that, and then also on the school too.
Right.
So.
I think that's it.
So in other words, next fall would be, when they would like to honor Bob. So.
Which is great, because Marion said this to me before the meeting, is that the dates for that would be set not too long from now, which will give us
Give us plenty
time.
of advance
And
notice.
then plenty of time to do any other thing that we wanted to do as far as education about the board and, you know, what the board does.
But it
and-
would also give, Ms. Teresa and Elaine.
Great, if you
Yes.
just keep us posted as soon as that date is set.
I'm thinking, is anybody got any of his jokes?
Oh, goodness.
They couldn't remember the jokes he was.
Oh,
I can
gosh.
tell you, he used to tell me all the time, get your pen ready, I'm about to make a motion to adjourn.
There's a well.
We ought to do a little brochure of Bob King's thoughts. you
Isn't
know.
it?
Uh-huh.
They'd have to have a really big elephant on it, because he was like very devoted to his political party.
It's probably really well.
Okay, the next, is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
Next item is the IDEC conference in New Orleans in March 2004, and the host committee did meet, but they're still wrapping up the pre-conference and post-conference tours, and so I still don't have any other information back for you, but they're getting to the point where they're ready to address that. So, and I don't know if any of you would please keep thinking about what we might try to do. No one kind of has that.
How many people?
Well, they'll probably, I mean, there's 700 or 800 members, I think, and I think they usually have about 500 people come. It's a big conference, but the thing is, I mean, it's not going to be a lot of Louisiana people. It's people from all over North America.
It seems like we need to figure out a way, and I don't know what there is, but a way to target the Louisiana people that are there, because those are the teaching professionals, so that we can let them all know about the fact that you guys have put into place a special mechanism for them to become licensed and not pay any fees.
Yes, that would be.
So,
And
since
also
they're
make
all-
sure they're aware of our intern programs.
They're
All
gonna
that needs to
be
filter
there.
down to the students.
Yeah. So it's maybe.
Well, and I can, I mean, registration will open, I don't know, probably January, I guess. Maybe early. But now, again, not all educators go. I would say maybe 5 or 6. I mean, usually, well, no more than that. There's usually a couple from UL. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone from Louisiana Tech there. There is occasionally one person that goes from Delgado and about anywhere from 4 to 5 from LSU. Now, we may get more this year because it's in New Orleans. But I can get that, who's gonna be there. I don't know, maybe we have,
So that's what I'm wondering, if
A
we
little
did, if we did
cocktail hour.
how many people are we thinking, is there a way to target only certain people, or would we have to invite everybody? In which case, what do you think that? Because if it's at the convention center, I could see if we could do it with my office, as an evening thing.
it's at the
or-
Hilton Riverside, but right there,
Right.
yeah.
Or, AIA, kind of use their place only circle,
Mhm.
they, allow people to use their facility.
Well, is Delgado going to be involved with this, since that's the local institution? that teaches them?
They're not doing, I mean, they haven't been. There's, the people that have come to the meetings and been on the conference calls, I can't recall anyone from Delgado. I mean, they're looking at probably having to rely on LSU for student, and maybe Lafayette and, Mississippi State for student volunteers.
They have to learn that.
It's gonna be really hard. I mean, we try.
The students will be there, the question of condition.
Yeah, right, definitely.
Well, and the trouble is they've had vacation, and so they're anxious to get back to school and catch up. you know.
Right.
So, I mean, we tried to.
That's why I thought the local.
Yeah.
Local students.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure school was called out for them, the local students from the other day, and to, because just to get the
Yeah, they
city
usually
back.
close
into
on
it.
Wednesday.
Well, we only close till noon
Has
on
anyone
Wednesday.
specifically asked about that?
Yeah, but Delgado's not active in IDAC. It's hard. I mean, academics have a hard time. It's an expensive conference to go to. And if you don't get some financial support, it's hard to do. And like even, so typically it's research universities that you're required to publish.
Right.
So that it's part of your job description that you research and publish, and that's a place to present and they have published proceedings. So,
I just don't know that we could do something to involve Delgado too, because we need to have more outreach to those students.
well, I mean, that's not the, I mean, we certainly could invite them if they aren't going to the IDAC conference.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, to sort of
Yeah.
get them involved.
Yeah. It would be a good place. Now, one thing we might do is try to put together a list of, one of the things that they want is like a list of places to go eat, things to do, a kind of insiders list for the conference attendees. Maybe we, yeah, why don't we put it to, if you, yeah, that would be great, because they have asked for that. And we could give it, you know, I think probably from the Louisiana State Board or schools. Okay?
Do a little welcome thanks for everybody who attends and put that list of that.
Right, so if we do
That'd
together,
be more appropriate for the organizations to do rather than the board, we certainly could encourage it.
Yeah.
because
I mean, you could do like,
get together with the big
Yeah.
IID and the executive, you could get together.
That's what I'm saying, we can coordinate.
Yeah, so they spend the money, because we can't spend the money.
Right. So we can coordinate other people
Yeah.
and provide the sort of the direction.
We can spend their money.
no, but I mean, it'd be fun to do like, you know, when people do weddings and they come from out of town, you could do a bag of Zach potatoes, and you could do an
That's what I'm
LSU
saying.
cookie and
That's what I'm saying,
the things.
ASID
Okay.
idea.
And usually the professional organization does do that.
Yeah.
For the host.
Because the professors don't make as much, so they need that. Or that's what my son
All right. Our next meeting is December 13th. Is there anything else that anyone needed to discuss? Well, I think, and Bob King's words is,
I'm ready.
is anyone ready to make a motion to
I
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn this meeting until December 13th.
Can we just adjourn the meeting? We're not recessing it.
We don't have a session.
All those in favor?
Well, we were supposed to say the next meeting day.
Oh, yes.
We did.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
Okay.